Hello, chat. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Ninja Gato show. Today, we have another important guest, and his name is the Dacabbagemancan. So, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Cabbages! Hello, Cabbages. Hello.
Hey,
How are ya? How are you today?
I am doing all right, and yourself?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We're hanging out just like we haven't been talking already. But how are you today?
Yeah,
You excited? You excited for this?
I am actually. It's
Awesome.
kind of a bit of an honor.
All right. So the first thing we usually do on these interviews is I shout you out, and it's gonna play a random clip. So if you could tab over to my stream, and make sure it's muted and watch said clip. And you're gonna have to explain what's going on in this clip. So, all right, here we go. This is. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. I think I know what's going on here. Looks like that was Baldur's Gate, and you were playing. Was that the part where Asterion gets to make the choice of what to do with Cazador?
Possibly. I didn't get
Nice.
to hear it.
That's okay. Do you remember what you did with Cazador? Um,
Um, we finished the job with Cazador. My first playthrough, I didn't actually even bother with going to deal with it because I didn't know what would happen, and I was trying to do a really like a very good playthrough, so I wasn't about to bring more evil into the world either by feeding Cazador or letting him ascend or letting Asterion ascend. And since I try to be very I do not like spoilers and things because
mhm.
a lot of the appeal of my content I feel is that I don't look or preview things in advance. I know exactly what I'm going like I know the game I'm playing, but I don't know what's going to happen, especially on a first playthrough. And so, because I didn't go look at a wiki or anything like that, all I had was what my chat had said, and I was like, well, I don't want him to ascend. That would bring more evil in, and I don't need that.
Mhm. Gotcha. Gotcha.
And yeah, I didn't want to kill Asterion. There was a chance that he could be redeemed, so I sort of just avoided that. But on the second playthrough, that's where we went in and did stuff because it was specifically requested, and I was playing. Oh, that was Dwarven Delve. That was. I name the playthroughs, so it's sort
Mhm.
of like a series. And then I do a little bit of RP, and in that one, I started doing voice work because, well, reasons we'll get into later when we talk about my health.
Mhm.
But I'm on oxygen, obviously. I probably only need it for another few minutes. But I was sitting in church singing, and I got my diaphragm started working again, which hasn't been working properly since '09. I was actually hitting notes. And so I started doing voice work with it because it's always been a passion of mine.
Mm.
And so in that one, I would put on, or I would either, in that one, I was role playing it with the objective of being a deep dwarf because, fun fact, there's only 3 of them in the entire game that are NPCs. So, or sorry, they're shield dwarves. Shield dwarves, there's only 3 NPCs for shield dwarves in the entire game, but they hold a grudge due to having lost a significant amount of their lands and kingdoms, having fallen to goblins and orcs, and they bear a grudge against elves and other, well, mainly elves who were their allies and failed to show up in many of those attacks. And so the idea was we're going to get as much money as we can without any kind of hack or any kind of exploit. We're going to get as much money as we can, and we're going to own Moonstone. When we're done, we're going to clear it out and make it a new dwarven stronghold,
Oh, it's okay.
founding a new clan. So part of that was I really don't need I don't need a more high-powered vampire following me around, and I don't think it's a good idea to let all these people loose.
Oh, so what you end up? So you sacrificed the people, you let Asterion ascend, and then you killed Cazador? Is that what you did?
No, we killed Cazador. I let Asterion then, well, go ape on Cazador's body to finish the job, and we ended up, I think we killed the people
Okay.
because they're all spawn, and with a city in crisis, you can't exactly. I try to take the bigger view outside of what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good idea with the enemy at the gates to release, what was it, like 40,000, 20,000, something like that. I went and looked up the population of Baldur's Gate roughly and was like, oh, yeah, no, that's not a good idea.
You pulled the plug on the others? Yeah. Yeah. Understood. Okay. Okay. Alright. So let's do the question about the lore behind the name, and then we'll do the health question. But let's start with the name. What was the lore and motivation for Dacabbagemancan?
Well, that is a few things put together.
Okay.
As a child, your parents tell you to eat vegetables, and they'll be like, oh, you have to eat them. You need to sit there and eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was very strict and very strong-willed, and thus so was I. And I remember one night in particular, I just would not eat the vegetables, period, not even tasting them. I dug my heels in, and I finally woke up to my dad waking me up around 3 in the morning because we'd sat there staring at each other that long. Because he's like, you're not going to leave the table till you have some vegetables. Okay.
You literally had a stare off, and you both sat at the table all the way, and
And
you
just,
fell asleep at the table during
yeah,
this stare off.
basically.
Okay.
Uh, and so he kind of decided, I'm not winning this in this way, and the fight's not worth it. I'm not going to start crap with my son
Like a sleep off.
over. Yeah, I mean, it was a sleep off. I think I made it till like 10, and he would start waking me up, and then he fell asleep. So, but
Okay.
he decided to change the vegetables we were eating, and I still wouldn't eat them until we hit cabbage. And I liked it. I actually would eat it. It was the go-to in my family from kind of then on. And so we would have cabbage a lot.
Mm.
I still love it. And as I grew and became, I don't know, as I grew, I've always been big. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like 6'8",
You're
300
6'8"?
some odd pounds. Yeah.
You're a mountain.
Yeah, if I stand up, I think I'm just a little bit shorter than that ceiling there. Just a little
Damn.
bit. If there was a light, I'd risk hitting my head.
And
Um,
and over 300 bills. You're a
e-
mountain.
but I started looking into nutrition, and like I was looking at stuff, and I was like, oh well. I still, I had this ongoing joke because I'd always order or I'd always like when I'd have friends over for a barbecue, there was never lettuce, there was cabbage because I have cabbage. I like cabbage. We're not. And the ongoing joke would be, oh, it's superior nutrition. Oh yeah, no, he's a supremacist, but and like people like my buddy would always joke this way. I go, oh yeah, he's a supremacist, and I'd get, kind of the sideways glance. Yeah, he's a cabbage supremacist. That of the forms of wild mustard, cabbage is best.
Mm.
Uh, and the second part that
Okay.
took on what it is that my life was so hectic and busy when Avatar: The Last Airbender came on. I'd never seen it. So when I met my wife, during our courtship, she introduced it to me, and I fell in love with the cabbage guy, the cabbage merchant.
The
And
recurring
so,
character.
sort of literally the best character. Um, and so I kind of, it's sort of like that. When you see my screen, it has the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure pose with Aang as an adult and me dressed like the cabbage merchant with my face though, and we're squaring off.
Mm.
Um, so yeah,
So
it's a
that's
little bit of the cabbage merchant. It means a lot. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, all that. I mean, I don't know if you can read the book titles behind me, but there's a few Avatar books there, and so I really enjoy that stuff. And it means a lot to me because my wife loves it and shared it with me when we were first meeting and getting to know each other. And then my kids love it too. So it was an easy decision to be like, well, I need a name.
hey,
The Cabbage
Mystic.
Man can.
Thank you for following. All right. Um, Very nice. I like it. I like the lore. Um, let me ask you this. You've talked about the oxygen. You kind of have a vest-looking thing on. Can you give us an overview? Like you've mentioned that you have health issues. Can you talk about that? Whatever you're comfortable with. Like don't feel like you need to overshare. Just what you're comfortable with.
Um, yeah, just if I want to change tack for a little bit, I'd appreciate that. We can come back to it. It's just there's a lot built into it.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm terminally ill. Um, I'm projected to live another few years. Uh, I'm at about. They recently extended the time where where they're worried about a heavy mortality rating. So right
Mhm.
now, the way it sits is 65-35, 65% chance I die in the next 2.5 years now. Um, but that gets there's lab work and all kinds of stuff that goes into them figuring it out. But it all kind of starts with um well, let me ask permission before I just do things. I have a lot of scar tissue and I don't want to go showing that if you don't want me to.
Okay.
Like
How about just a little bit, and then I'll also tell the chat if you have trigger warning, if you have a thing against like scars weird you out, this is probably a good time to tap away. But yeah, you could show us a little bit.
all right, so I don't know how
That
red this is right now, but
discoloration
that's
there.
some of the worst. That's a full thickness burn. You can drive a. I haven't got as much sun, but you can drive a. You can run a knife straight across it. I wouldn't feel anything,
Oh,
and it
okay.
wouldn't bleed. So What it is I burned alive back
Whoop.
in '09. Um, I was rear-ended by a semi. Uh, Dude was way overworked, super tired. Uh, I was on a work trip. Uh, a semi locked into the back wheels of my conversion van, one of those like camping van things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Locked into the back wheels. I got trapped in the fire. I burned for about 10 minutes. Uh, and then I got to take a 2-month nap.
Wow.
Um,
So technically, it sounds like you cheated death. Like,
oh, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I think it was a huge blessing that I made it out of there.
wow. So you were in a near fatal car accident while you were working. What profession were you working at the time? You don't have to say if you don't want to.
Oh, I'm trying to. I will not say because there's a lot of NDA around that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yep. All
I
right.
have an
We'll just.
NDA on a lot of it, so.
Okay. So you were in a near
But
fatal
yeah,
car wreck. You were burned for 10 minutes. So you have burns all over your body?
about 40% of my body is scar tissue.
Damn. Okay.
I've always believed that you should invest in your clothes and not buy cheap crap. What protected me from having it all over my body was I had a good quality shirt. Um, and it was, I mean, there were like, I have burns where it burned through the shirt, but I had good quality pants, so there's not really much on my legs. I
Mm-hmm.
do have some other injuries that have contributed to what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then there's some scarring inside down my throat into like the brachials of your lungs where they
Oh, the smoke
split off.
inhalation. Okay. Okay. Yeah, my chat wants to know. Beppo knows like what quality. What are you recommending, or like what what
Um,
was it like
okay,
a jean
so
shirt
generally, huh?
or what type of material?
Um, Probably just a solid cotton, no plastics. Plastics melt real quick. I've done reenacting for a while,
Mm-hmm.
like since I was like 15, and one of the big rules is you do not wear synthetic fibers if you're anywhere near the muskets or the campfire.
Okay.
That is how things like
Those.
they will. Yeah, it burns. So just a good quality cotton shirt. Costs a little bit more, but I can honestly tell you it saved me from being far worse off than I am now.
Okay. Okay. So then.
But this is where terminally ill comes in.
Okay.
When you have burns extensive as mine, they generally speaking will test you to make sure your sweat glands work properly. My insurance did not want to pay for that. And so they, of course, did the right thing. They submitted me the denial in the mail. And then I had 10 days to answer. And it was all nice and legal. Now, the problem was I wasn't picking up my mail because I was unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very easy to just do this test, which is a miserable test, I'll grant you. They cover you in powder and then they cover you in this powder and stick you in a tube and then heat the tube up to see can you still sweat properly.
Mm.
And the answer is no. And if the answer is no, you need to move to a colder climate. There's not really much that can be done. It's called hypohidrosis. it's not fully. I can still sweat some, but not as much as my body should be able
Okay.
to
So you,
maintain not running heat. I basically, if you'll excuse the term, I edged a heat stroke for the better part of a decade
mm,
because I didn't know. And so around the time of the pandemic and all that, I was not doing well. I was really bad off. And I'd I'd stopped being able to lift. I'd put on a bunch of weight. I was at like 420 pounds. And yes, that is absolutely deliberate that I stopped there. I hit like 418 and I'm like, 2 more pounds. So they were trying to figure things out. And finally my doctor was like, you ever had powder thrown all over you and been stuck in a tube and then heated up? No. I think I know what's wrong with you then. And he was right. But the problem is, when you edge a heat stroke like that, yeah, I need AC more, a lot more.
mhm.
And the problem is, when you edge a heat stroke, it damages your internal organs pretty severely. And so, you know, I'm not very good about dealing with heat.
Mhm.
I wear this in the winter when I'm lifting weights.
What is that,
Um,
by the way? What are you wearing?
what? Oh, this is a cooling vest. I don't know
Oh,
if you can hear that. That's the ice and water rattling around inside it. Um, just kind of keeping me cool, uh, keeping my core nice and frozen, getting me pulled over by cops.
just to think you have rank
Even,
A or something.
dude, I live in Idaho.
hmm
Our gun laws are like,
Almost
if you're
non-existent.
well, no, I mean, there are severe infringements such as, if you're a kid, if you're under the age of 18, you can't carry full auto on your person.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I
That's
gotcha.
sarcasm, of course, but it's it's like, bro, it's legal to own body armor and to wear it. I don't see the problem.
Mm, okay. So you teeter a delicate line between maintaining a good body temperature, and wear the vest to keep you cool, even during the
Yeah.
winter, and then you're trying to, lose weight or maintain your weight. So it's hard to exercise because that's a difficult balance you have to play between, getting overexerted. Okay.
Oh, well, overexertion isn't really it. It's more that when I burned, I was huge. I was doing the Celtic Games for the caber toss, the hammer throw, and the shot put. I was
hmm
enormous. I was built like the juggernaut. And so the scar tissue was that big when I was doing that. So part of the reason I lift still is that in this area there is still, and on the edge of most of my burns, there's still sweat glands that will function. They kind of have to stretch out the skin a bit and look at it and test it,
hmm
but they still function. So if I can get my arms bigger, I will have more sweat glands, which is a very good thing. If I can get my muscles just bigger, um, it increases my chances. And I do all this, like, that balance is there, as you said, but I push really hard at stuff.
hmm
Um, I mean, I was told 4 years in 21, and while it has been revised, it, I mean, I'm here,
hmm
you know.
Yeah, it's something you have to constantly work at. Otherwise, because you, I assume your motivation is that you want to be with your family as long as possible.
Yeah, my
Exactly.
my dad passed when I was 10. I know what it's like, and I don't want that to be the case for them.
Okay,
You hope, you pray, and you put in the work.
I gotcha. And you currently have 5 kids and one in the oven.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Well, thank you for sharing your health story. I know that's difficult and hard to talk about, but thank you for sharing that with us. Um, so I do notice you stream. You primarily were focusing kick.
Yeah.
So the next question I usually ask my guest is their streaming setup. So what hardware do you use to stream? And then we'll talk software after.
All right. You're okay.
Also
Help
got
her clean
those.
the wound, and
If you gotta
if you
take a
need my
break,
help, let me know.
yeah. If you need to take a break at any
No,
point, let
I
us know.
I have very useful children. They have basic first aid skills. We're
Okay.
dealing with a band-aid for a second, but
Yeah, what do you use to stream? What hardware?
um well, I use a Nexago camera that's like a decade old. You can probably tell. Um, that's the wrong advantage, and it's fine. Here, let me see it. And then I've got a Shure. I don't know. When I started out, I was not so sure about it, but I'm gonna mute for a second.
Sure. It's a square format. Yeah, Nexicon. Northstein! How are ya? Thank you for the raid, Northstar. Let me shout you out. That's a convenient segue. My guest is currently muted because he's helping his kids administer first aid. But how are you, Northstar? How are ya? Um, Alright, if you guys don't already follow Northstar, you should. Northstar does, he's a maker. He makes stuff with his 3D printer. He also makes stuff and does stuff in the Micoverse. Plays games, all around cool, nerdy dude. So make sure you hang out with Northstar. We are in the middle of my interview with Dacabbagemancan. Northstar and I also have an interview planned and scheduled if you guys aren't already in the Discord. Uh, here you go. Northstar and I are scheduled. Oh, I can't check the date, but I do know in a couple of weeks, I think. So join the Discord, and then under the events, you can click interested, and that will give you a notify of our little bell when it happens. All right. So Notter's 21st. Yeah. Yeah. All right, and like I said, this Giga Chad that we're interviewing right now, he is a 6'8" mountain that has by um, cheated death, and he is still fighting the fight. So there we go. Whenever you're ready, cabbages.
I'm ready.
Okay. Just a
All right,
crown on
where
me.
were we? Hardware, right? The I use a crap webcam that I don't know. As I've grown, I've been reinvesting into my stuff. uh, as far as the arm for my microphone, it's an AK-49 by AO, some Korean word,
It's
I
okay.
think.
Mm-hmm. And this webcam
And
is
then
connected to like a laptop or a computer?
yeah,
What are you connected to?
laptop.
Laptop. Okay, so
I
you run.
have the I have the I mean, this is my living room I stream out of, so
Mm-hmm.
it can't always be the stream studio. Um, but my wife is super supportive and builds really cool stuff. Like my streaming table, honestly, the most interesting thing is where my TV's set up and like the thing my TV's set up and what this laptop and all this stuff is sitting on. So,
Mm-hmm.
let me
Okay.
see. If you want actual specs, I can figure that
No,
out real quick.
that's okay. That's okay. I'm just assuming it. You're using the laptop to like there's a gaming capture device or gaming capture card, and it sounds like you
Um,
game with a console.
yeah, I play on Xbox.
Xbox. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
So,
I think this is proof gatos that if you think about streaming, you can stream with what you got. I mean, Cabbages here has a 10-year-old webcam, and he makes it work for his stream. And his community seems to still enjoy his content. So
yep.
there you go. All right.
And I mean, the Shure is a recent addition. The microphone is the well, one I'd been looking for that doubles up well for like a lot of different things, but mainly I wanted one that was a USB mic but had a way to not filter because that's a big issue with a lot of them.
mm-hmm.
And it's a Shure dang it. It's the MV57, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Uh
And then
and that's my most recent upgrade.
sure makes good stuff. Yeah, they do. I am a little worried because my facial capture has stopped. But
Yeah, I
let's talk.
noticed you stopped moving.
Yep. Let's talk software. What do you use software wise for your streams?
Um, OBS and just OBS and Chrome, really.
Hmm. That's pretty simple.
Like Chrome to, and I use Restream's thing for chat and just
Mm-hmm.
sort of bounce between that and Kick because it doesn't do as well as picking up Kick.
Okay.
So that's how I achieve the multi-streaming. And when I was starting, there was that big controversy with Twitch saying, "Oh, well, you can't multi-stream." And so when I started out, I focused on Kick because they were offering a good deal to the streamers. And I mean, last month I made like on my subs, I made around what, $30? Not a whole lot, but with the tips and everything, it came out to enough to get a microphone.
Yeah.
That's a pretty nice microphone.
Yeah, I'll say
Um,
the kick split is much better for sure.
yeah. And I don't know, I just think that I'm just figuring it out as I go along.
Mm-hmm.
Best you can do, start where you are.
Yep.
Like I know one of the questions you had sent me was uh oh, what was it? About advice to people starting out.
Yep. I usually get to that question, but yeah, if you want to jump to that question, what do you recommend for anyone who's thinking about starting streaming? Somebody brand new. What would be your advice to them?
Well, first of all, stream what you like. If you don't like what you're streaming, if you're just trying to be popular initially and you're playing games you don't like, it's going to show through. So, stream what you enjoy and people will come. but also start where you are. I mean, like whatever you have, that'll work. It doesn't have to be the best, and over time, you will get a little bit of support here and there, and that adds up to being able to buy stuff. If you want to invest with money from outside of stream, you can do that too, but you don't have to start with just the top end everything across the board.
100%.
And so, that's my biggest piece of advice. Do something you love, and people will see you love it and see the passion, and they'll enjoy it. That's and don't like everything else just kind of comes as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a lot of skills you have to learn.
I wonder if it's possible to stream a tablet. I have a camera. You could stream from your cell phone. Like we do have streamers that are cell phone streamers.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like so if
Like
it's
if you can,
if it's got a decent OS that you can operate it like a cell phone, you can absolutely stream from a cell phone. Like a lot of the e-girls, that's all they use is their iPhones. They've got like multiple iPhones. So um okay. Um awesome. Awesome. So you've recently started. What was the first game you ever streamed?
that's a good one. I don't even know.
You don't even
Hey,
remember.
thank you. What was the first game I was streaming? Yakuza. Was it Yakuza? Or was it Toy Soldier? I don't think it was Toy Soldier. No, it wasn't Toy Soldier. I have both my mods sitting here with me,
Yeah.
just off screen.
Nice, nice.
It was either Starfield or oh yeah, it was Starfield. Or Yakuza.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was Yakuza. Yeah. And maybe Fortnite. I like Fortnite.
I don't actually recall anyone stream from iPad, though I've streamed from an iPhone. I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible. Okay. So I did notice you do play Fortnite and Baldur's Gate 3 and Warhammer 40K. So, what do you like about 40K? Like, what drew you to that series?
If you want me to be honest, it's the tism. It's completely autism. It's something much like Baldur's Gate is D&D. 40K Rogue Trader is Warhammer 40K. That and Tolkien have been stuck in my autistic brain since I was very young, and I know just insane amounts of lore. I can I have so much useless
Information.
junk bouncing around in my head sometimes. And sometimes, I don't know, I've figured out that some people really want to hear that. Like, what do you mean you can have like glowing fists on a monk that are made of like encase your fists in celestial ice and hit with that? Oh yeah, that's from 3rd edition in Book of Exalted Deeds.
Okay.
So Baldur's Gate it's a D&D game.
Mhm.
And it looked fun. Hardest part about streaming that was that I had to wait until it was on console.
It wasn't that long, but it took a while. I'll agree with you. Yeah.
And then, Rogue Trader I know a lot about the 40K universe, and after my dad passed, my pops came into the picture. He owned a comic shop, the one that I got started with.
Oh, you're a comic
Everything.
book shop kid. Okay.
Yeah, some kids grow up on a barroom floor. I grew up on the sticky gamer smell infested floor of my pop's shop. So it
Mm.
was it was uh it was actually really cool.
It was cool.
My
It shaped
mom,
you. It obviously shaped and influenced you.
yeah, I mean
Mhm.
she wasn't my mom was great the first 10 years of my life. When my dad died, she wasn't all there. Like,
Mhm.
still isn't. Like, it took a big toll on her,
Mhm.
and she would just drop me off. And so my pops took me in, and he was making sure that I would get everything that I needed and made sure that, hey, you speak with a stutter. Let's fix that. You have certain mannerisms that won't get you very far in life. Let's work on those.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So you just briefly touched on it, but can I ask you about it? You said you're autistic. Can you provide a little more background on that?
In what way?
Just like when you were diagnosed, maybe, or how bad it is, or you know, I know there's within the autistic community, like there's, I believe there's some levels of autism. So whatever you're comfortable talking about.
Yeah. Um, I mean, nowadays they would call it's just part of autism spectrum disorder.
Mhm.
Uh, which is not great in my opinion. I liked how it was in the previous Diagnostic and Statistics Manual, or DSM, where they had separated some of the higher functioning people
Mhm.
out into things like Asperger's syndrome. And so, you know, I eat the Asperger's, if you will.
Mm. Okay.
It's not terrible, but I mean, it does have a lot of drawbacks. I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own.
Mhm.
I was diagnosed when I was 15, which was a really awkward time because I didn't know what the heck was wrong with me or why I was the way I was. I also didn't understand why I was really able to hit it off with girls, but then also bomb terribly.
Mhm.
So my Spurg brain had not figured it out.
Yeah.
And then the
So
doc
you
was like, "You have autism." And I did the most autistic thing possible immediately after it got on the internet and read everything.
everything. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you have the 6'8" height working for you, attracting all the ladies, and then you spout D&D at them, and then they're very confused.
I mean, the way I figured out whether or not I would actually want to date women was literally take them to my pop's comic shop.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go on a date here, because there was a anime screening room,
Mm-hmm.
um, so it was sort of a, if you want to go on a date here, if you'll go on a date here, watch a movie on a big projector screen, before we had 55-inch TVs that sort of made them irrelevant and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. You had that. If you want to put it on a wall and we'll have popcorn and all this, Pop's actually hooked me up a lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did a lot of it out of the goodness of his heart. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I always sort of felt like it was a job initially to do stuff around the shop that he'd asked me to do. And I was like, okay, I guess you're giving me food or you're doing this. I can do this. But then like when I got older, I realized, no, you're you're giving out a lot more than you're receiving, man.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But if they would go to the shop and enjoy a movie with me, something, and I'd always let them pick. Um, but if they could do that, and I was willing to spend time with them.
Okay. And then you met a cutie who was really, really into anime, including Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then it was over at that point.
A little bit more convoluted than that, but
I gotcha. I gotcha. Awesome. Awesome.
one of my
Okay.
kids is by another mother, so.
Oh, okay. Understood.
But I did
Understood.
meet a cutie who,
Who enjoys Avatar. Nice. Nice. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Um, hmm. All right. So thank you for sharing that with me. It's like now my community also knows, on top of you being a 6 foot 8 giga Chad who's cheated death and continues to cheat death every day. You are on the spectrum, and you're open to talk about it. That's pretty cool.
You did have that question about awareness and whatnot on the channel.
mm, yeah. We'll keep going. We'll keep going.
Okay. Because I did want to, I had something to say there. I'd actually thought about it, talked about it with one of my mods who has opinions
I
on it.
gotcha.
So,
Um,
so
I'm trying to look at what question you're thinking about. Oh, that's right. You mentioned you have autism. Do you have anything in your content to raise awareness? Autism awareness?
well, in my content, I don't. One, I don't really like the term raising awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure that if I say I have autism, everybody on your channel watching right now goes, okay, and knows what it is. Awareness is often tied to a section that, and I don't speak for everybody on the spectrum here, but it's often tied to finding the cure, which if they came out with a cure tomorrow, I wouldn't be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of what makes me me. I've learned to adapt and live with it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being autistic. It's not a disease that I need to cure. I'm just neurodivergent, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think about things differently. I mean, I can do some pretty cool stuff in my brain, but it for you realistically, assuming you're not on the spectrum, I don't know. Um, but for most people, or let's say you're looking at somebody, for you, you see a smile and you go, and your brain automatically takes in the rest of the face and goes, they're happy. For me, I have to look and go, oh, okay, there's a smile. What are their eyes doing? What else are they doing? And kind of, yeah, what does their body language say?
How does he feel about the term neurospicy?
I have never heard the term neurospicy, but I really love it.
All right. Okay, cool. Neurospicy. That's pretty cool. You got it from somebody. Okay. That's a nice
But
way to
yeah,
say it. Mhm.
like I said, awareness, it's something, I don't know, at least I and a few people perceive as sort of a negative. Not because it's bad for neurotypicals to understand autism better, but because it's a term used by cure movements so much. And I don't
Mm,
like that. I don't need a cure. I think most people on the spectrum don't need a cure. There are people who are pretty far down that struggle, but realistically,
They just need rehabilitation. Try to help them go.
yeah, and I don't know that it would be good to cure somebody who's in their like 20s or 30s of autism, because they're going to still have a lot of problems. You're looking at having a whatever age they developed to, like, let's say a 9-year-old in a 24, 25-year-old's body. That's not going to go well.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of things are you
Yeah.
actually ahead of on the spectrum in comparison to schools?
I think
But I do
Oh, go for
push.
it.
I do like I do like the organizations that
Mm-hmm.
are within the movement, or I like the pushing of inclusiveness, but not the drive for a cure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm always willing in my content, if anybody, I've been asked a couple times, sometimes in a negative context, but are you autistic or something, or like stuff like that, and I'm always willing to talk about it. Like, sure,
Mhm.
let's talk about the tism, boy. I can go. What do you want to know? What's it like for me? What, you know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
address it. Like, I'm not gonna throw it in people's face, but I get that sometimes, especially if I'm tired, I have a hard time masking, which I don't know if you know what that means, but it's the face you put on for the public, not the one I wear with my wife
Mhm.
or my brother or my buddy. It's the one I put on to interact with the normies, as it were.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Well, yeah, I will agree with you. Times have gotten different. I think we have people like Elon Musk, love him or hate him. We're not going to talk about him, but we all recognize that he has Asperger's. He's on the spectrum, but he's done some incredible things. Like, so you don't try to um, yeah, it's not about trying to correct the behavior, in my opinion. It's learning to work with people like that because um, they think differently. Literally, it just boils down to they think differently, but that's okay. Like, they are still
Yeah,
capable of amazing things.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this: I do not like when other spurgs will use it as a cop out for bad behavior. I think
Oh.
that is abusing it. You're
Mm.
abusing the goodwill of other people. So, yeah, we think differently, but it's not like we don't know when we're doing something that's really messed up. And I've seen some dudes with the tism who also have Asperger's. Um, and yeah, they've got the Asperger's, not Asperger's.
Gotcha.
Um,
Um.
and they're just tools, because they know that in the right crowds, people let them get away with it because, oh, I didn't know because my autism, and oh, I just didn't understand, and I'm sorry. I watched a guy who got away with it, or got away with groping a girl,
That's not
and
cool. That's not cool.
not at all. I was like, no, no, I called him on it. I was like, no, dude, you your tism doesn't protect you from basic things. In fact, it is worse because you have the tism. If that were to happen to you, you would
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Mhm. Like,
100%.
but and that's the worst example, but there are other examples. I don't want to just I don't want to just like air dirty laundry on that, though. But it I think it requires neurotypicals and neurodivergent people to kind of find a nice happy medium where we're all kind of, for lack of a better term, negotiating in good faith, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Gotcha. Bit cool. It makes it worse for people with disabilities. Yep. Um, okay. Well, we're on the broad spectrum of, your heritage, personality, and everything that makes up you and your channel. You do have a lot of stuff on your social media, just showing that you are part of the LDS community. Do you incorporate that into your streams?
Yes and no. I
Okay.
mean, one, LDS is short for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would like to remind you that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would prefer if you use the full name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's something. I don't know. This says I'm kicked in for a second.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no. But yeah, no. Yeah, I'm LDS. I spent some time living with a pastor, and I was starting to go into that path. And I looked around myself and saw that there was so much like waste. Like we were living in luxury condos, like 30 minutes away from where he was the preacher of, and it was paid for by the church. Like I was not a fan of that, and so I sort of walked away from my faith. I've always had faith in God, but I then went on to, oh yeah, I'm a member, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred. Cool. Are you Utah, Idaho, or Arizona? Or
Oh,
elsewhere?
there's different chapters?
No. There's different parts of the culture.
Mm.
I just saw that
From All
is it
Red?
all red?
Mm-hmm. All Red.
Wait. Hey, Coyote. Get me the all red name tag.
He's originally from Utah, but he lives in North Carolina now.
Did you serve your mission in the Virginia mission? Is this your name tag?
Hey, what's up? Frosty? uh, I'll shout you
I
out.
have like 40 missionary name tags, but I don't push my faith on people. I think that when people have questions, sort of like the autism,
Mm-hmm.
people see it, they ask questions, I give answers. If you want to know more, I'm willing to talk. You know, I'm in several communities. I help with running a kind of PTSD, and it's a PTSD support group
Mm-hmm.
specifically to just be able to get you through those dark times. Make sure you do not play Sudoku because Sudoku is bad. We kind of treat the actual word itself, as we don't talk about it. We don't say it. But you know, through
Okay.
that aspect of what I do, I've had people who are like, "How do I have what you have? Why are you so happy but you have PTSD?" Well, and then I tell them, I'll bring the church up, and if
Mm-hmm.
they are not receptive, that's fine. Like at the end of the day, and I think this is the coolest thing about the LDS faith, is while we have missionaries that go out and try to find converts, there is a lot of preaching about your personal agency and your choices being
Mhm.
yours.
Okay. All right.
And I love that. So, yeah, it's sort of a. Is it in there? Yeah. If you notice, I do not swear for the most part. Occasionally it comes out. I worked in a fishing fleet for a little while, so I have
Mhm.
sailor in me. I can't. It comes out.
I gotcha.
But I try not to swear. I I don't know if you noticed, but I tend to read things. If you've looked at my content, I read what's going on to people because I
You're.
have people who listen and
Mhm.
they want to be able to enjoy it. Some people
Mhm.
are at work. For some, I figured out how finally, like, of how I have a big following in American Samoa and Tonga. There's a fair amount of members.
Mhm.
American Samoa, I think, is almost 70% LDS.
Wow, that's interesting. All right.
But a friend of mine was watching me when his buddy had come from American Samoa, and he's Samoan, and he was so he watched me, brought it back to the island, and I've got a little celebrity there. Uh, what's up?
Mm,
You're gonna take a shower? Okay, cool.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So,
But yeah,
all right. To summarize, it sounds like while LDS is part of your foundation and part of what made you, it's not a huge element of your channel, but you are willing to talk with people if they want to. Your content is mostly gaming and nerdy D&D stuff, and it's family friendly. And it's family friendly.
as family friendly as I can get.
Gotcha.
I was not always LDS. I converted.
Oh wow.
Um, and you know, I there was a little bit of time where I tried to get away from D&D because my pops always called the books for or for not D&D, Warhammer 40K.
Hmm.
He always referred to them as war porn, which in front of my wife was like he was he was
Yeah.
just like, here to pick up your war porn? Yeah. And my wife was like,
You're what now? That's hilarious.
and
Uh,
I was like, you're gonna have to translate to sheltered LDS girl, please.
mhm. Gotcha. Gotcha.
But I tried to step away from it a little bit, but it's just so much a part of me that I just was like, I can embrace this, I can enjoy it, and I can do what I want with it. Like Space Marine 2 is going to be bloody, and I do have families that watch me. Like a lot of my Samoan fans are um they watch as a family. And so I don't want little kids to be listening to me swear, and I do make sure people know the content that they're going to be watching,
Hmm.
you know. Uh I will always try and give a warning if like there's going to be some spicy stuff on, like, because I don't want to expose kids to that. Um Bit of a challenge with Baldur's Gate 2. That game is or Baldur's Gate 3. Uh that game is a bit
It's mature. It's rated mature. Like it's bottom line. Even if you tell it to not do the nudie stuff.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
everybody wants to hook up with you. And I was just trying to be a nice guy. Like I was just trying to be a good, like I played the character good. I didn't use any of the mean options. And apparently that means every single one of my party members except the one I wanted to hook up with. Yeah,
They're all very thirsty. They're all very, very thirsty.
the thirst is real. But
Hmm.
oh,
Wait, so who did you want to hook up with?
Karlak.
Karlak. Oh, okay.
Come on, dude. I'm a weightlifter, muscle mommy.
Yeah, she is definitely muscle mommy. I gotcha. Um, wow. All right.
I mean, my wife is 5'11" and was a former blacksmith, so that
Damn.
gives you any idea of what
Man, your
my
your
taste in
kids,
women
your
is.
children must be tall too. Damn.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're like 2 grades ahead of where they are.
Damn.
And then I have to be like, well, first of all, they don't even have a grade. They're just homeschooled, dude. Like, but if they were in public school, then they would be this grade.
A blacksmith in 2018 or whenever.
Some of the biggest kids in this.
Yeah, it's hard to find any blacksmiths these days. Okay. Let's get back to gaming questions.
Yo.
You like you play Fortnite and you seem to enjoy Fortnite. What drew you to Fortnite?
So I think I mentioned that I have a baby mama, if you
Mhm.
will. I love my oldest child, and I've always tried to find something to connect with them.
Mhm.
Um, it's been hard. Mom has done a fair amount of parental alienation, but while I was still getting visitation, I was because I don't want to drag my kid through so much court. And I know living across the country, it makes it harder
Mhm.
for them to want to come this way. But my oldest introduced me to it, right?
Mhm.
And I was playing because my oldest was like, "Oh well, hey dad, can you help me? I'm getting destroyed in this game, and I need somebody who's good at shooters." Okay. And from there, I met other people on there. One of the big ones for me was I met a bunch of young kids
Mhm.
that were older than my like teenagers, and these were all kids that just were in were struggling.
Mhm.
And as a dad of enough kids, I was just like, oh well, I mean, I guess I can give you some fatherly advice. Your dad's not around, you're not, or whatever. I don't know. These kids just flocked to me, and I didn't understand it at the time. Like, why do you guys want to hang out with me? Part of it was that I was teaching them small infantry tactics to make them better at Fortnite,
Oh, okay.
and I was the oh, what was it that one of my Fortnite children said? That's what I call them, my Fortnite kids. They're all
Gotcha.
grown up and in college now. But they the wizened old wizard, and now they're in their 20s and they're like, 30's not that old. But it's I was teaching them all this stuff, and I was giving advice. Like, several of them had this group of kids had kind of found each other, and they were all in a suck situation one way or another. Like, one kid was going through divorce, and his dad had a new girlfriend, and he lived with his dad, but the girlfriend didn't like him, and his dad was always busy. I had another that um, we almost adopted both her and her sister. Her father had crawled into a bottle years ago and left their mom.
Mhm.
Mom got sick, died, and their neighbor took them in so that they wouldn't get scooped up by
Yeah, the system and land wherever, you know. Yep.
exactly and get split up.
Mhm.
But that situation was starting to go bad because it was sort of it started out okay, but then it started to turn into a bit of a Cinderella situation.
Mhm.
Scrub the floor, Cinderella, do this, do that, do this. And by getting the paperwork in order and mailing it to them, it really just fixed the situation. Once they had we could just leave right now. Leave from North Carolina, move up to Virginia, live there, and be fine. Things changed when they realized, oh, you're willing to go with your Fortnite friend who's an adult and has a house and all this stuff. And that really helped them. But we did almost adopt those two girls, and they've gone on to do really awesome stuff, and I'm really proud of those kids. And that is what drew me to Fortnite, is that's where we met, and I kind of latched onto it, and it's a good game.
Mhm. That's good.
It's ridiculous without, and the other thing is, I feel it's more wholesome than if I were playing Warzone or something else.
Mhm.
Because I do have an urge to play games like that, and in Fortnite, within the lore, nobody dies, really.
Yep.
They just, yeah, they're teleported out, you know? It when you're a gamer with young children around, that's a big deal.
Mhm.
I tried
Gotcha.
playing Warzone for a week, and my wife was like, nope.
Nope. Gotcha. Okay. So you dived into Fortnite to better connect with your firstborn child, and in that, you discovered a whole new community of young people looking for a role model, and that kind of kept you in that community. That's pretty amazing, dude. Um, Let me just say, I'm terrible at Fortnite. Do you have any advice for new players like me at how we can improve our skills at like Fortnite or skills in these types of games?
I mean, I have a full manual.
Oh, really?
I started. I don't like last Friday's stream especially
Mhm.
was me. You'll hear me being like, okay, I am commanding the force.
Mhm.
I was in ROTC and I wanted to be in the army, but then the autism diagnosis popped, and
Mhm.
so I'd studied for it with the power of autism. And so, I shoot, I do these things,
Mhm.
I know how to scrap, but I've taken that knowledge and transferred it into Fortnite. A lot of it is just don't sweat.
Mhm.
If you Fortnite is a battle royale, but in any fight, you will always, even in real life, any fight, the more you fight, statistically speaking, the more likely you are to die, no matter how good you are.
Mm.
Speed, surprise, and violence of action always prevail in Fortnite.
Okay. Just
And
always be moving.
not necessarily.
Okay.
Surprise, like when you're moving, move fast. When you're like sometimes you can just sit there. A lot of times when there's 10 people left, I'm not getting in that fight. Heck that,
Mm.
man. I'm gonna
Snipe them?
pickaxe up into an attic and sit there.
Oh, and just camp?
Actually, I suck at snipe. Yeah, I'll just camp. Whatever, let's go. Like, I'll just stay in zone. A lot of times when I'm playing, I play with my wife or my moderator.
Mhm.
Sometimes both. And we often will just use one person as one person to run to zone while the other two delay and get wiped in zone or in the storm. So it's about knowing, how do I put this cohesively without pulling out a manual?
Strategizing within your team.
Strategizing within your team. If you're playing solos, you need to know the map.
Mm-hmm.
Know the map and know how to hide is another thing.
Okay.
Because if you're going to win fights, you do have to have some skill. But the Fortnite lobbies are really good about not
Yeah, they're
what am I
skill-based
looking for?
matchups. They are definitely skill-based matchups.
Yeah, so you play on your level.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when the servers are not as populated, you're gonna have to deal with some people, and you might catch some stream snipers for you if you're playing it on stream. I know I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, have a different kick username than your Fortnite name, homie.
Okay.
So, but even then, I don't really ban them either on Fortnite or the other. Just okay. If you really want to do this, we can.
Mm-hmm. You can also
But
add a 3-second stream delay in OBS. I've heard some FPS streamers do that to try to, get a little bit of a so stream snipers don't have as big of an advantage. Um,
well, I mean, their goal is to try and kill me, and my goal is to survive.
mm-hmm.
I just kind of let them because it makes me better. Like, if you know exactly where I am, cool. I can play this. Let's go.
Okay.
Like,
You've already made me a better Fortnite player, by the way. I did not even think about camping as a strategy. I literally would always run towards the gunfire to try to fight, and that's probably why I die all the time.
yeah, that's just being sweaty. And I mean, my biggest piece of advice, if you wanted a one-liner that I espouse all the time, is you can fight all you want until there's 50 people left, and at 50 people left, stop. That is not you don't want to fight anymore. At that point, it needs to be only engage when you are forced to.
Just
It is
survive.
more. It is. I think Fortnite's less of a battle and more of an exercise in seer training, survival, evasion. Is it resistance and escape?
Just show up fashionably at the end and kill the last dude. Well, sometimes the storm can kill the last dude while they're looking for you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that is basically how you get repeated dubs. I mean,
gotcha. There's a little one. Okay. Let me ask you this. You talked about lifting. Do you do any lifting content?
I have thought about it, but I live in a smallish town in Idaho, so it would be. Oh, hey, you can't watch that here. That's licensed. That's licensed, Bob. You gotta chill. Okay, take it. Hey, can you watch this? Do you want to go sit on my bed? Oh, what's wrong?
That's okay. I mean, he does lifting every day
You want
with
to
his
watch
kiddos.
Bluey? Oh, well, you're watching Twitch, dude. Is this your uncle's phone? It is. All right, here. Okay, take that to my room and then watch Bluey, okay? There you go, bub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just hit play.
Okay, so you lift at the gym when you do lift.
I do, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean-
Yeah, and that gets weird with gyms and recording and stuff, so it's probably not a good idea. It'd just be home lifting if anything. Okay. Can you tell me
And
about?
weights are expensive.
Yes,
is
they
the
are.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. Go watch it over there. All right.
All right. Can you
Wait.
tell me about one of your most favorable moments or most memorable moments while streaming? At least like top 1, 2, maybe top moments streaming.
I don't know that I could isolate a specific one. I had a good one the other day though that was great that somebody in chat on which platform? It doesn't matter. Well, somebody in my chat was like had come in to tell me I suck basically
Mm-hmm.
while I was playing Fortnite and because I was camping and
Mhm.
then proceeded to call me a virgin, and I just held up one of my children. My kid was like just off screen. I reached over,
I'll be like, this is
grabbed,
mine, sir.
lifted, and went like held their face up next to mine, and was like,
Is this the
"Okay."
face of a
I mean,
virgin,
I
sir?
literally have proof.
Dude, that's so good. Uh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
And you know, there's that, and it always feels good when you've got your chat behind you, and they're urging you on, they're excited with you. You've got that, you've got the momentum, I feel like, of the chat. It boosts morale, and then you pull off something crazy because you decided, let's do something dumb
Mm-hmm.
and fun, and then you pull it off. Those are always great. One of those for me was this season of Fortnite, deciding I was going to take a car, or no, this was last season. I drove a car up onto the loot island
Okay.
using a rift, and I've seen people try to do it before, but the thing is they boost too much and overshoot. And I landed there and hit a guy off the island and
Oh,
then got out and mowed down the rest of the squad with me, my wife, and or no, that was me and my brother.
oh, nice.
Um,
Nice. I hope Beppo also wants to know the troll's response when you held up your child. They probably stopped chatting.
well, they told me something I'm not going to repeat.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
It basically, well, swear words.
Mhm.
Very clumsy response.
No, but that is like the most epic counter I've ever heard, dude. That's pretty awesome.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know. Like, I didn't even really think about it. It just sort of happened. I was like, "There, child, come here. You look like me."
That's hilarious. Did they start calling you the exact opposite? They just went full degen, Beppo. I'm assuming he
Oh
had to
yeah, they just went. Yeah, they
right into a ban.
rabbit.
Probably.
Yeah, they stopped chatting. I'm not gonna ban somebody on certain platforms. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care. I know where I need to be sensitive. I'm at like Kick and Twitter is where I have most of the families that watch me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, word on there, yeah, you'd catch a mute real quick. But some of the others, just whatever, dude. You do you. Catch your ban.
Mm-hmm.
Go off. I don't care. So,
Okay.
just is what it is. But yeah, so those are my favorite moments of just
All right. And then let me ask you
chilling
this,
with
like,
chat and getting to know people.
like,
That's the best part of it.
like, how do you manage your time, dude? Like, how do you stream, you weightlift, you're a father of 5 with another on the way. Like, how do you manage your time?
Poorly.
Okay. That's okay too. That's okay too. I just
Um,
I imagine your home is chaos all the time and you were just um a ambassador of chaos.
well, hey Kyle,
Yeah.
you willing to show your face?
Yeah.
You just walk around to this side of the couch. I think it's angled right there. You're in the
Mhm.
background anyways. Gonna walk all the way around fully. Cool. All right, so you gotta position yourself
I moved
close to
over.
the shelf.
That's
There we
okay.
go.
I moved over.
This guy right there is how I manage my time and how I have any degree of success in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
This is my younger brother. You can see the family resemblance, right?
He's got a lot more
This is
fuzz on the face.
and he's Asian.
Hmm.
But he's adopted.
Oh, okay.
But he helps take care of me. He sleeps for a lot of the day because I have a hard time with sleep, and so I end up going to bed at 2 in the morning.
Hmm.
And then he wakes up with the kids a lot of times and cooks breakfast, does stuff, goes back to sleep, and then so Coyote is really the hero of it.
Hmm.
Like, I'm just the more charismatic between us, and I couldn't do any of it without him. I
Mm.
really couldn't. He's the best.
So your family and your brother included are some of the pillars that help keep your home upright. And that's
Yep.
part of what keeps, the chaos of your time management between all the things you have to do.
Yeah. I mean, a
Hmm.
lot of it is, you know, I have something that most parents dream of.
Hmm.
I can walk out of my house anytime I want with my wife. Like, that is amazing.
Oh, your wife works
I
from
just
home?
go without having to get a babysitter, really.
Oh,
Like,
gotcha.
that's
Hmm.
no, my wife works um she works at a we live in Idaho. It's a
Hmm.
potato factory, realistically. I'm not gonna name names because I know there's some stuff there.
Don't worry about it. You don't have to
Um,
provide any personal details, but yes, she does work outside the home. Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
She does 12-hour shifts, then comes home. But it's kind of nice because while it is a swing shift situation where she does 2 weeks at night on nights and then 2 weeks on days, it allows her to be home a lot more because she'll do like 2 nights, then 3 days off, then um 3 days on, and it sort of just flows well and ends up with them getting to see their mom a lot more because
Mm.
I basically have a note from a doctor saying don't work, it will kill you. They're
Mm.
not even really happy that I do this. um but I'm like, if I don't do this, I don't have anything to do, and I'm just,
You'll go crazy. You will.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll waste I'll waste away.
Mm.
Uh, Believe it or not, a reason to live is extremely important
Hmm.
in a situation like mine.
No, that's
And
that's an inspiring
it
story.
it sort of gives me this sort of like my family keeps me going, keeps me fighting this, keeps me doing every little thing that I can right because I can beat this. And if I can make it through this next bit, I should make it another 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're just
It'll claim me eventually, but if I can push it off, that is the best thing.
well, everybody has an expiration date, so yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Also, let's see. All Red says I would not like swing shift routines. I did, however, two places that went to 12-hour shifts and had 3-day week, and for the next and back and forth. Yeah, kind of like a nurse schedule. A lot of people like that because it does break it up to okay, these days I'm on, these days are off, and you're just continually off. And then Beppo also says the will to live is vital to your health. There's loads of proper medical research to show it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to disappoint these fans, these people who follow me, and in some cases are younger and look up to me.
Mm-hmm.
It it's kind of nice getting up in the morning and knowing that there are people besides my immediate family that look forward to just seeing me online, you know, that I need to that look forward to it that I don't want to let down. It gives me just that extra little bit. Right, Joestar? No? Okay.
Beppo, is that a self-report? He says, or you could do my work week of 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week, but spend a big chunk of that time chatting on Twitch. Beppo.
Beppo, are you in the Air Force?
Um, if I recall, Beppo is in some type of manufacturing.
Okay.
No, he makes hot tubs. Yeah, work starting about 8 and then end sometimes closer to 5 or later. Okay. I design
I
and
had a
build the tooling that makes hot tubs. Oh.
How do I get the time machine feature?
He's waiting for that one, Beppo. Get on it. Get on it. Oh.
I can't find any Soviet energy drinks. So,
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, it's
I don't do that. um.
I had a buddy who did pretty much what he was talking about except with Facebook games. When he
Mhm.
was in the Air Force, he was supposed to be a intelligence analyst specifically for pictures. And so like spy planes would fly over, take pictures, and he would be like, "Okay, this is this, this is this, this is this," right?
Mhm.
But and he was stationed at Langley Air Force Base. Um and I was like, "How are you always free to just chat with me whenever?" He's like, "Oh, well, I mean, I don't actually do my job. That's the thing. There's a guy that's in my job right now, but I was promised the job, so they have to, legally give me the job, but I just sit in the same building as my job, and instead, I check people who are coming in to make sure they have the clearance, and sometimes I go around and use the power of my security clearance to watch a janitor mop a room. And then
But
I spend a lot of it on online.
nice. That's the
So,
job. I mean, it's a job. Sounds like my job. Cheesy bread cat. Um. Okay.
but and he would always joke, whenever we'd win a game, because he'd play a lot of online games, because I mean the internet connection was great, but it
Mhm.
was funny because he'd be like, "Your tax dollars at work."
There you go. There you go. Opposite as
So,
mine is fast food in a Wendy's. Oy. Oy. Um, all right, let me ask you this question. What are some of the challenges of being a content creator while juggling other responsibilities?
um, learning triage. Understanding what's important and what can wait is extremely important in that. Like, I prioritize my family, then my health at about the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if I don't have my health, my family won't have me. And they're really supportive. So it's important to manage that. Like, mid interview, my kid's bleeding, and I'm like, okay, well, you got first aid skills. Y'all get to work, I'll help you. Because while they do have first aid skills and can apply things like band-aids, sometimes they need dad
Mm-hmm.
to, they they don't want their sister to rub the alcohol on and clean it. They want dad.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. It's convenient that you had that perfect example happen today. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so it's about learning triage. Like, I can, and of course spirituality plays into that. A lot of
Mhm.
times when my wife is working the day shift, we're doing scripture study while I'm on stream,
Mhm.
but I pause it and go on a break and tell people, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." Cuz, I'm not called I'm not called to proselyte. I'm not going to. I make people aware that I'm going to be like 15 minutes because we're doing family scripture study together. We're going to do that.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
but
I guess really it's managing time somewhat well. And while I say poorly, I don't really mean it. I do a decent job at it. And it's about just figuring out what in the moment needs to be what I'm doing.
mhm. Yeah. Beppo the child
Eisenhower
did.
matrices work amazing for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was saying Beppo. It didn't lose a finger. They just got a cut. It's nothing crazy. Um. All right. Prioritizing. Yep. Uh. And how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance with streaming? Well, you consider your streaming job, so it's like, yeah, how do you balance the two?
Well, for me personally, uh, I keep I don't really put a line between them. I do sort of, but it's very porous. My kids can walk up to me if they need something at any point. And so I'm dad first. Uh, Keeping the balance is about like it all kind of boils into time management and figuring out what, like I said, what's important in the moment. Um, as my stream has grown and started to make more money, I've started to try to set aside a little bit for each of the kids
Mm-hmm.
because I think that people who use there are content creators that use their kids to get views and get stuff. And I don't try to, but I do. And the only way to get around that, at least for me, would be to like go grab an apartment and make it into a studio or something, you know? And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be away from my kids. I want to be dad. I want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And so the balance is understanding they're going to be on stream, knowing that that's okay, and because anytime I have one of the kids or one of the kids being cute, not when they're being a butt, but when they're being cute, or if one of the animals is on camera, views go up by at least 10. So if they're helping with that, they're gonna catch a little bit of money for it.
Gotcha.
You know?
Okay. All right.
They are as much as part of the channel as I am, in my opinion.
Beppo says, right,
so
if you're
they-
doing this to help give life motivation, being away from your kids all day would be the exact opposite and give it the same negatives as having a full-time job. That's a good
Yeah.
point, Beppo.
Very
Kids and
good.
animals. Cutes indeed. Yes. Alright, let me snooze this ad. So at this time, we're gonna open it up to questions from the chat. Do you guys have questions for this Giga Chad? While they type up questions, I'll go ahead and give you a softball question. If you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have?
Time control.
Time control. Can you elaborate a little bit? Why
Well-
time control?
If you can control time, you can do basically anything better than every other superhero. Growing up in a comic shop, I've had the who could beat who conversation. In fact, my last job was work after Pops passed, working at the shop because they needed somebody enough like him to have a soft transition away from it being his place, you know?
Mhm.
So with time control, you can pause time, get a lot done. You can even do other things like lift an anvil over somebody's head a la Looney Tunes if you're fighting a supervillain. Or you can spend all the time just taking all the screws out of their freeze ray or whatever. It works, and it also sort of gives you super speed because you can slow down time for other people while maintaining your own speed at what would be normal for you, or speed yourself up while everybody else is moving slowly
Mhm.
or at regular speed. You get super speed, you get a lot of stuff. And if you can control time fully, you can then not age. Which I
Mm.
already kind of get, because this is the face I had when I was 22. I'm in my mid-30s.
Mhm.
I
I
have no
gotcha.
signs of aging, and I probably won't, according to doctors.
I gotcha. Beppo was
The
making a
nice
comment.
part about getting the burns on the face was that they were so light. My mom jokes that I got
A
what do you
chemical
call that?
peel? Basically,
Yeah, a chemical peel, but it's basically permanent.
permanent chemical peel. It's crazy.
They're like, you'll probably age when you're 55 or so. Like, okay, cool.
Beppo really likes your answer because he says if you can make a time bubble where time passes much faster on the inside, you could put a computer in there and it compute something for like 5 million years, and where barely a half a second goes by for you. And he also says it's a key thing that a biblical God would have. If he has a billion supercomputers in a time bubble, he'd have all the computing power to ever instantly and very much would be all-knowing. Interesting, Beppo.
Yeah.
All right. Chunky Gurgle wants to know smooth or chunky peanut butter.
Well, both. But if they want to elaborate, I can give a more solid answer. If I'm having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, chunky. If I'm eating it raw, smooth.
Smooth. There you go. There you go, Chunky. Noted. All right. Any other questions in the chat before we say bye to YouTube?
Will you be alright with Joseph? Joseph?
Yeah.
Mm. Is there anything you like to collect? I think I know the answer. But go ahead. Go ahead. Anything you'd like to collect?
Well, I'd like to hear your answer first.
No, I know. I was gonna save it for later. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Well, I might answer it. That's why I was wondering.
Go for
You
it.
were
Go for it.
saying, I think.
I'll confirm. I'll confirm if you do.
Well, I have around. I have a full chapter of Space Marines and then some. In 40K, a chapter is 1,000 Marines. I have all 10 companies of the Ultramarines, except for, well, not all 10. Almost all 10. I don't like Second Company without getting into the lore too deep and way out in the weeds.
They all painted.
Second Company, uh, they used to be. I sold off a fair amount of them, for a little bit. I've made some mistakes with that. I sold a few models that I regret selling. I have a bunch of terrain. I have a bunch of Tyranids and a few Sisters of Battle. The old metal ones. Some Necromunda stuff. Some Deathwatch Space Marines. Some Imperial Guardsmen. A bunch of orcs as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then All Red wants to know your favorite fast food restaurant.
Hmm. That's a good question. Which one has the most protein? I guess either Arby's or Wendy's, because you can get a lot of protein for a decent price.
Mm. Oh, and then All Red wants to know how many missionaries have made a big impact in your life.
A lot. Actually, obviously the ones who helped teach me and helped with the baptism and all that stuff made a big one. The one who gave me the Melchizedek priesthood. He made a big impact, and he actually started my name tag collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I collect name tags too. I collect a lot of stuff. Hey, before you leave, can you hand me the mortar shell box? Yeah.
And Beppo also wants to
But
know,
yeah.
did you go on mission? Or did you convert too late in life?
I could have gone on a mission. I had started to form up the missionary paperwork. And then I met my wife, and it kind of didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I got the thing that almost every young single adult wishes of actually going to the we call the young single adult ward the YSA. I also collect bottle caps. I did a video about it recently on my YouTube. It's really hard to get this many when you don't drink much soda because, well, I don't know, soda's not really good for you
Exactly.
and whatnot. But and you don't drink beer, but I have like every soda and beer you could possibly think of.
That's crazy. Yes, I did see your bottle cap collection. That was the one that was like, I think I know the answer, and there it is. There it is.
Yeah. I figured I would show it, but yeah, I collect that. I collect 40k Marines or 40k stuff. It's a lot of
That's so
stuff.
cool.
Some Avatar stuff. I got the what is that? My buddy sent me a meme the other day that was amazing and describes it perfectly. When you get the what is it? When you get the expensive hobby autism instead of the really good at math autism.
That's hilarious.
And I mean I can do both, so at least there's that.
That is so cool.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we're gonna say bye to YouTube. So we're gonna do the big outro. And we'll say bye to YouTube. But everybody, this Giga Chad is you learned a lot about him. He's a 6'8" mountain who's cheated death and continues to battle death every day, trying to be there for his family, and he's streaming to save his sanity. Is one way to put it. So he has something to focus on while he makes a positive impact in his family's life and his kids' life. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, YouTube, everyone. All right, let's say bye, YouTube. Let me find my stream ending. There we go. All right, remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will also leave all of Dacabbagemancan's socials below.